If you have big goals but keep hitting the same internal wall, listen closely. Hard work will take you far. And when effort stops working, it is not a strategy problem. It is a programming problem. You do not rise to your goals. You elevate to your programming. Inside Outspoken, you'll reprogram the subconscious patterns that drive 95% of your results. And in the process, earn 6 powerful certifications while you do it. Enrollment closes January 31st. If you are ready to stop pushing and start leading from a solid, grounded foundation, join us in Outspoken. Welcome to the Own Your Choices, Own Your Life podcast. I know you are here wanting to change and rewrite your story. You are desiring to step into the impact that you know you are here to create. I am here to guide you with the proven tools and strategies used by myself and our speakers to support you in taking radical responsibility in your life and learning how to own your choices to change your story. My name is Marsha Van Weinsberg. I am a storytelling business coach, master NLP trainer, speaker, podcaster, and 7 times published author. My clients have found freedom and purpose from overcoming their shame stories and learning how to share them with the world. I am so grateful you are here. Let's get started. Welcome back to the show. Today we are speaking with Margaret Wallis-Duffy. Margaret is an award-winning registered massage therapist, health educator, speaker, and founder of Wallis for Wellness, an innovative clinic dedicated to proactive, integrative, and preventative healthcare. With over 34 years of clinical and professional experience, Margaret has become a respected leader in helping individuals move from reactive healthcare to empowered self-leadership. Margaret is the visionary behind Preventative Health Awareness Month, FAM, a national education and advocacy movement recognized by Health Canada in 2023. She is a sought-after speaker who collaborates with leading brands, healthcare organizations, and community leaders. And she designs customized corporate wellness programs that support resilience, performance, and sustainable health in today's workplaces. In 2026, Margaret is thrilled to be launching the CEO of Your Health Hub and Community, a transformative platform designed to help everyday people get into the driver's seat of their health through education, practical tools, and access to trusted healthcare professionals. Her mission is simple yet powerful: to empower people to become the CEO of their health and ultimately their life. This is such a fun and powerful episode, especially when you hear how we connected in the online space. I love, love, love the internet space for this reason. Welcome to the show today, Margaret. I am thrilled to have you here.
I am so excited to be here. And I mean that like from the bottom of my heart. I sought out you because you resonate in everything you do through the screen. And I felt compelled to reach out. And so what an honor to be here today.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, this is a great example of, like, some people will say social media is like all the bad things. I've had great experience with it, and I've connected. You reached out in a DM, we connected. I don't know how many phone calls we've had. We've had a few. And in those phone calls, it's been almost, can I say eerie in a way?
Uh, it's a good word. It's bang on. And I couldn't agree more.
So
Yes.
many things we've overlapped on. It's like, okay, no wonder we connected. No wonder it is that. So I would love it if you would start with sharing a little bit about you and the work, like who you are and what you do. And I just want to dive into your story and what brought you here.
Yeah. Thanks. I agree. Your energy attracted me when we got on the calls and we were talking. My jaw was dropping because you're sharing your story. It is so similar, different, but similar to mine in so many ways. So my story is a powerful one. And it really has shaped who I am as a person, but also as a professional. And I'm really proud of it. And I always love to share this story because I think it brings hope and resilience. The idea that resilience can happen through some of the hardest times in our lives. So My background's in kinesiology, University of Waterloo, just like you.
Same.
I'm a proud registered massage therapist, and I owned an award-winning preventative and integrative health clinic called Wallace for Wellness for 30 years. I sold the clinic. It'll be 4 years this coming April. But my story goes back 4 decades. As a young girl, a competitive athlete with big, bold dreams and ambitions, I was struggling with excruciating pain where I couldn't function, but I had these big goals. And as a young person, I just kept pushing through and come from a loving family. And I'm an only child. My parents took me from doctor to doctor to surgeon, only to be met with the same thing over and over again. You're a hypersensitive only child. You're a drug seeking teen. You're a competitive athlete with a nervous stomach. It's all in your head. And I got to tell you, as a type A personality and a recovering people pleaser, let me make sure I say that, a recovering people pleaser. Back then, I just thought, oh, well, then what's wrong with me? I gotta keep pushing. Like I knew, Marsha, something was seriously wrong with me.
Can I ask you what year-ish frame is this?
So this started, the tipping point came when I was in university 3 years in a row. I ended up in hospital in excruciating pain with a distended abdomen, I couldn't function. But really, it started at 13 years of age with my first period.
Okay.
Actually, probably earlier than that. My mother talked about I was the child that screamed like 18 hours a day, and she was told she was a horrible mother because I couldn't settle. And the minute I had menarche and started menstruating, it was an awful journey. I was in excruciating pain. I was being told it was a little bit of a bad period, and get on with things. And it wasn't until 3 years in a row at university that I was literally vomiting, distended belly, looking like I was 9 months pregnant, that I finally found the courage. And I don't know how. It came deep from my soul without really thinking about it. It's really where the birth of my advocacy voice
Mhm.
began.
Yep.
I looked at this surgeon and said, something is seriously wrong with me. I know it. You may not see it. You can label me with all the things, but I know in my heart of hearts, something is seriously wrong with me. And I'm not leaving this hospital until you find out what it is. And I remember at the time saying that. And then my inside voice was, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Because I just boldly
Yeah.
said something to a superior that, like, now what? And he looked at me sort of taken back and he said, well, there is one disease, but you don't have it. Look at you. You look great. You don't look like the picture. How many times have so many of us heard that and we're
Mhm.
carrying horrible things? But he said there's this disease called endometriosis, but I doubt you have it. The only way though to truly find out, because I'd had ultrasounds and CT scans and blood work, and I'd had cyst rupture, and they just said it was an ovarian cyst, all the things for years.
Mhm.
But he said the only way to truly find out is to do a surgery.
Yeah.
And I said, I want the surgery. I was scared to death because I'm in university. I don't want to have surgery, but I was desperate for answers.
Mhm.
When I woke up from that surgery in the wee hours of the morning, because I didn't get in till very late, they had sent my parents home who had been by my bedside because they said, oh, she won't wake up. And here I am isolated alone, not because my parents wanted that, but because the hospital said, oh, she'll be fine, away you go. And I'll never forget waking up in a groggy state from anesthesia with the nurse there and this surgeon saying to me, well, looks like you were right. You have one of the most severe cases of endometriosis I've ever seen. And I was like, first of all, I didn't even know how to say the word endometriosis, let
Yeah.
alone know
Or
what.
what it was. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I mean, there was this wave of relief, but then fear, because now what do I do? I don't know what this is. And I said, so what does that mean? What do I do? And you know what his answer was? Marsha,
Scared to hear this. I'm so scared to hear this because I think this is where our stories overlap. But yes.
yeah, well, get yourself pregnant. The disease will be better. It'll be all good. And you can move on.
Ew. Ew. Can I ask you, is this, I know we're close in age. You don't have to tell me your age. What? You're
I'm proud
58.
to say 58.
Yeah. We're only 2 years ahead of me. So this would be probably what? Not 90s. We're talking like late, like
80s, late 80s.
80s. Yeah. That's what I thought. I just wanted to say because I mean, even now, I still think Canada is behind in endometriosis compared to what the states are doing. But in the 80s, like that, wow, not even heard of.
Not heard of. And yes, you're right. Just a year and a half ago, my phone was blowing up. My mom called in tears because there was something on the television. Here we are decades later, which, but when we continue my story, I didn't claim my disease for years. Only last year did I name it because there was so much shame around it. Because you're right, it wasn't talked about. It was only a year and a half ago that they have a national strategy here in Canada that's just starting for endometriosis. So, first of all, endometriosis, which is not just a gynecological condition, it's a neuromuscular immune disorder that mimics like cancer. It can spread through the body. I had it on my bowel, on my lung. It caused a lung collapse. I've had 4 bowel obstructions with nasal gastric tubes. I've had it on my gallbladder, which my gallbladder was taken out. But it's also one of the major causes of infertility. So that statement by that specialist, a gynecologist, to a young 19-year-old girl, first of all, I had failed infertility treatments. I'm blessed with 2 children, but they're 6 years apart for a reason,
Yeah.
was irresponsible, unfair, and quite frankly, disgusting. But
Medical gaslighting. I don't know how else you say it. Like I didn't understand what gaslighting was until it was really explained. And I'm like, oh, I've felt that for years. I didn't realize it.
absolutely. And that was my story moving forward from that point on. For a decade, I was literally gaslit, and I had to figure out, okay, this is not going to be my story. It is my story. I have a chronic, serious disease that's impacting and infiltrating every aspect of my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and sexually.
Mhm.
I'm
All
going to be honest and real here but I also had to have it sort of shrouded in shame because you don't, because some of my own family, friends, colleagues, it hijacked my career and my life in school because I had to leave University of Waterloo in year 3 because I had to get close to Toronto so I could have proper surgeries. And it was only then, while I'm trying to recover from life changing surgeries, that I went to a massage therapist who I thought, "Oh my gosh, I loved what they did, the way they assessed me, the way they listened, the power of touch." So then I thought, "Oh, this is something maybe I would like to do." And while I was recovering from surgeries at home, when I put my degree on hold in 3 years, I'd been 3 years and 1 semester through Waterloo, but I thought, "I can't give up." And I decided to go back to become a massage therapist, which is a physically demanding job, but I gotta tell you, I was pulled to it. I was so taken back by the experience from this therapist that I thought, I could do this. I have a lot that I could give the world with this. And I knew that the mind, body, and connection, although I've learned so much in the last 34 years in that way, I'm very science-based, and boy, has this profession taught me, and so has my body, that I can tell you stories that would just change people's lives about the mind body connection. But I decided I was going to go and become a massage therapist. And it is my story that launched Wallace for Wellness. But when I opened Wallace and Associates, I called it Wallace and Associates 34 years ago this April because even massage therapy, let alone my disease, was not in the consciousness of people. I was not a masseuse. My post-grad diploma said masseuse. I'm not a masseuse. I knew I've got all this years of schooling. I had a vision boldly, and therefore I didn't even hang my postgraduate diploma in massage therapy until we finally got it under the health regulations, Practitioners Act, where it said massage therapist for 3 years. But I deliberately called my clinic Wallace and Associates because it sounded like a law firm, because I knew I needed to build credibility. There weren't hands in any of my logos. And before I actually wrote my government board exams for massage therapy, I had leased a space in a medical building before I wrote my government exams. And people were saying, "But what if you don't pass?" I said, "Well, it's not an option. I'm going to." And Marsha, that my lung collapsed 6 weeks before my government board exams.
Oh gosh, that's when
Remem
it collapsed?
And I remember being so sick, so defeated, so unwell, and said to my mom when I got discharged and I'm home, and my mom is this little 5 foot, she's probably 4'11" now, one like mighty wonder. And I said, "I can't do this. I can't write my board exams." I was in the give up mode, poor me mode. I can't do this. My fierce, passionate, and compassionate mother looked at me. I can see this in my mind's eye. She's standing down the hall into my childhood home from me, and she kicks her shoe off of her foot. It comes whizzing by my head like this. And she looked at me with such fierce intention, but with love, and said this: listen to me.
Mhm.
This disease is not going to define you. It's going to amplify who you are. You are not going to give up. March up those stairs, pack your bag. We're going to they had a place in Sauble Beach.
Mhm.
We're going to the beach and we're going to study together for the next 6 weeks. And she
Oh.
laughed. She goes, I don't even know how to say half of these scientific words, but we're going. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to come back and you're going to write your government board exams and you're going to become the best damn massage therapist that ever walked. Do you understand? Now move it.
Oh, I love her.
Me too.
Yeah, I
And
love
I'm
her.
like, I felt like a dish rag run out. I was very sick. My lung had collapsed. But I went into, all right, I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
Packed my bag. And for weeks, my mother sat with me on the couch, studying with me, breathing belief into me, doing what I couldn't do for myself at the time. And do you know, Marsha, when I wrote my government exams, I got one of the highest marks. I became a government board examiner for massage therapy that I did for years. And when I opened my clinic and called it Wallace and Associates, because I knew I had a bigger vision of what I was going to create 34 years later, didn't
Mhm.
happen overnight, where I knew that massage therapy could change the legacy of healthcare, where we could make people become the CEO of their health by listening to themselves, by being in the driver's seat of their health, but by doing it better together, by breaking down silos with conventional and complementary medicine. Notice I didn't say alternative,
Mhm.
because that's what I had to do to heal myself and what I still do to this day. I work with doctors and surgeons and scientific people on a daily basis. But as a complementary healthcare professional, notice I didn't say alternative. That's a mindset. We don't do see your doctor or see your massage therapist, see your doctor or see your kinesiologist, see your doctor or see your naturopath. We should be working better together. But here's what I believe the most and what my business has been based on for 34 years is that you and I, everyday people, are the most important member of their healthcare team. And
100%.
that's what I spent 30 years doing is breaking down silos, breathing belief into people, stocking their preventative health toolbox, earning the respect of my colleagues in conventional medicine so that when I sold my clinic 4 years ago this April, we had 45,000 patients in our database. We earned an 80 to 90% doctor referral rate. And there are countless, over 80 massage therapists that worked with Wallace for Wellness. And it went from Wallace and Associates to Wallace for Wellness over the years because I'd earned the respect. Notice I said earned. I didn't just open my doors and expect people to come. I earned the trust from
Right.
people so they'd refer to me. I had all these different healthcare professionals work with me, doctors, surgeons, naturopath, chiropractors, mental health professionals. And I sold the clinic because I felt pulled to do this next chapter, which is to change the legacy of healthcare in this country. It's a bold vision, Marsha.
Well,
And
that's where I wanted to take it too, because like 34 years, 45,000 patients, and really creating a name and credibility for yourself and what you're about. Then the pandemic comes and you decide it's time to make some changes. What was the next vision and how did you know it was time to step into that?
I love this question. And, there was this bubbling for quite some time. So it wasn't a light bulb quick over because that clinic was my baby that I nurtured from the ground up. It was a vision. So it's really, sometimes we hold so tight onto something because it's what we know and what we've
Yeah.
done forever. So it becomes our identity. And so I was holding so tight. And I remember saying many times, oh, I would never stop being a massage therapist.
Mhm.
And no, I won't. But that doesn't mean I always reach beyond the treatment room walls. But for a long time, there was this bubbling that a feeling that I needed to change something. I didn't know what it was. And then you're right. The pandemic happened and I lobbied for us to be back in front of like front line because we weren't allowed to treat for 3 months and it was catastrophic to so many of our patients. And I was lobbying behind the scenes to get us back to work. And I will say it was one of the most rewarding times in my career working during the pandemic. But I'll never forget during that Christmas of the pandemic, a family member, my daughter had COVID. We were locked down. It was a dark time in history and in our lives. And I was walking our beautiful dog, rest his soul, Boomer's gone. And he took a lot of that with me. It's so apropos how things change and you don't even realize how and when. But I remember walking and crying. It was snowing, and I'm thinking, I got to do something. I don't know what, but I'm going to do it anyways. I need this chapter's done. I want to get to year 30. So this was December. The following April, Wallace for Wellness would celebrate 30 years. I felt really strongly about making that milestone. But then I needed to do something different, and I wasn't sure what yet. So the next call I made was to my real estate agent. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm calling you because I own a building where my clinic was. And I wanted to lease my suite, see if I could lease my suite out. I was kind of kicking tires.
Yep.
Not really serious, but thought, well, I'll nudge this. When you nudge the universe, put on your seatbelt,
It's so good.
right?
So good. Yeah.
So
So good.
he said, okay, let's meet. On December 28th, we met in my clinic. And he said, okay, well, tell me what you want to do. I said, well, I don't really know, but I'm feeling pulled to do something to take my years of clinical experience, business acumen, media training, and I need to change the legacy of healthcare. And I no longer feel like I can do it in the walls here, although it's hard because my team didn't know I was thinking this. These thousands of patients and generations of family I feel connected to. But the deep yearning to do something more and being called to bigger stages was there. And I couldn't ignore it anymore. It'd been bubbling for years, but I thought I've got to do it. And I had a mindset that on the 30th anniversary, I needed to be doing something else.
Mm.
So on December 28th, we put up my clinic space for lease. On January 2nd, I'll never forget, I'm sitting in the parking lot of a mall because I'm going into the bank. And my real estate agent calls me and he said, Marg, can you talk? Yes, sure. He said, you want the good news or the bad news first? And I said, the bad news. No, I said, the good news. He said, well, you got everything you wanted. And I said, pardon? He said, I've leased your space. And I had made the bar high, like everything that I wanted, I put in this lease. And because I think part of that was my fear in saying, well, if I put all these things in there, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Safety.
Yeah, safety. And I did it anyway. And he said, you got everything you wanted. He goes, and the bad news, but then again, the way, however you spin it, knowing you, you'll spin it differently. The bad news is you have to wind down a 30-year career and unpack and move out of your space by April 1st, the day that your clinic turns 30 years old.
That was like the closing date.
It's the
Wow.
closing. And
Wow.
I guess it took the breath out of me. But in that, it also, I felt this wave, Marsha, and I haven't, you know what? I've never described this to anybody. Thank you for giving me the platform to do this. Oh my gosh,
Oh.
this is real.
Mhm.
When there's fear and hope and fear and anxiety and fear and ambition, the reality is you can hold both.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you hold yourself back and you don't take the leap, and my father, an amazing entrepreneur, this January is his 10th anniversary of his passing. And I watched him be such a fierce entrepreneur. And he always said to me, Margaret, fail forward and often
Mhm.
and follow your passion and speak your heart and give back. And the universe will take care of you. I had this wave come over me, my body, a tingling of both unbelievable fear because I had no idea. My team didn't know I was closing
30 years though. Okay, so like 30, like that's a very anchored identity.
It really is. And one I was incredibly proud of. And not that anything had gone wrong. Like I was like, people were shocked to hear this. My team had no idea. My family had no idea. And yet I also, that was coupled and beside sheer excitement and passion and a feeling of energy of what is possible. But
Mhm.
here was the cool thing. I didn't know what it was yet. I didn't know what I was doing next, but I was doing it anyway.
Wow. See, I think that's the That's the piece so many times is that people don't move because I need the clarity. I need to like have all the decisions. I have to have all the pieces. And there's almost no space to. You have to make a decision sometimes that does close a door. I mean, it wasn't officially closed April 1st, but it's like it closes it energetically so that there is room and space for something else to come in. And that's wow, that's incredible. That's exactly what you did.
It is what I did, and I did it with integrity, with love, with honesty, with vulnerability. I remember shooting the video in my clinic to send out to all of our database, our patients. And I remember the phone calls to my therapist and my team. I ended up selling my practice
Mhm.
uh, to one of the therapists that worked with me. I felt a real in a good way, a real sense of responsibility to the generations of families that have been getting help at Wallace for Wellness for 30 years. I didn't want to abandon them. That's not who I am as a person. But I needed Wallace for Wellness 2.0 to morph into something different. And I couldn't do that running a clinic and reaching for the stars while still running a clinic, treating and doing all the things, while also being a mother, a wife, a daughter, all of those things. So I remember that feeling when I vulnerably told everybody that I was closing the existing form of Wallace for Wellness, that I was honored and thrilled that one of my colleagues was taking it over. It was going to become Conestoga Massage Therapy. The building, I was still going to own the building, but that I was now embarking on this new journey of Wallace for Wellness 2.0. But I had no idea what that was going to be. But the excitement where that could take me
Mhm.
got some jump in my step. And I gave myself permission, Marsha, to spend those 4 months open, honest, vulnerable. There were tears. People came in for their last treatments and we cried together. We laughed together. We created bridges where they could now still see me in different ways. I'm providing service and value in a different way now. It just wasn't in the form everybody knew for so long.
Mhm.
But then it was late December of that year. So I sold the clinic in April. I started to still treating a small amount of people, doing some speaking, but trying to figure it out, not sure what I was going to do. And I sat right here at this spot in late December of 2022. And I boldly wrote an application to Health Canada and poured my heart out, told my story, my personal story, like I've told you, my health story, my professional story and success. I've got lots of awards about what I've done in my career, but really what I had was a burning desire to share it and to change the legacy of healthcare in Canada. And when I went to the Health Canada website, it's all about disease. And don't get me wrong, when we have a disease, we want help. And I want people,
Course.
I'm grateful. I'm going to say this proud, I'm a proud Canadian. I am grateful for the healthcare system that has helped me with my 10 surgeries, 4 bowel obstructions, lung collapse, and the patients that have had all these incredible surgeries that we have access to in our country. But here's what I know and what I've seen, and that is there's a massive gap, and I call it the opportunity gap. Because when you go to the Health Canada website, it's all about disease. It's all about reactionary medicine, a pill for an ill, wait till it's broken, sick care. And I've worked in the opportunity gap for 30 years where we get into action when the whispers of the body start to say something and we validate it for people and we build their awareness and we get them to lean in and get into action in collaboration with their healthcare team so we can prevent that diagnosis. Because if I had $1 for every patient that said to me, Marg, how many times has my doctor said, you know, your blood work is within normal range, but I don't feel normal.
Mhm.
I challenge people to listen to that. Your body knows. And so when you start to listen, lean in and to stock your toolbox in a wide range of ways, we can prevent that potentially that catastrophic outcome. But even if we get that outcome like I did, you can get into the driver's seat to do something different. So I wrote this application to Health Canada saying that I was raised that, you don't complain about something you don't actively do something about. And so I wanted to be the visionary behind Preventative Health Awareness Month that would be every February. And I'm going to be candid why I picked February. It's for 2 reasons. It's the beginning of the year, and this isn't just about an awareness month. It's about a lifestyle and mindset shift all year long. It's a complete cultural change. So if we stock people's toolbox with an awareness, intensive awareness for 29 days in February, they can use those tools all year long.
Yep.
Because March 1st, that month, becomes the FAM, Preventative Health Awareness Movement, all year long. I wanted to be the visionary behind Preventative Health Awareness Month in February. Plus, it was the shortest month of the year. And if I was going to create content and bring professionals to the table for a month, it was the shortest month. And that I wanted to be the visionary, and I'd like Health Canada to recognize it. But then I boldly stated, but I'm going to do it anyway. And the next email I sent was to about 50 healthcare professionals that I'd earned the trust and respect that I'd worked with in my career, and painted the vision that I wanted them to pour their expertise, their passion, that I wanted to change the legacy of healthcare for future generations from this pill for an ill sick care to a preventative, patient-empowered healthcare system, and that I needed their help doing it. And would they contribute their expertise for 1 month every year and help be ambassadors to move this mission forward? Marsha, I was brought to tears because the number of emails coming in from doctors, surgeons, naturopaths, massage therapists. I was literally in tears. They're saying, thank you for having the guts to go first. Yes, we're in. In January of 2023, 2 weeks before I was launching FAM for the first time, I got an email from Health Canada saying that was a really powerful application. Do you have a website? And the answer was no, because I was kind of in limbo. I was in between this career and identity I knew and leaping to where I'm going. And I don't know really where I'm going. But I said, why? And they said, because if you do, we'll put you on the Health Canada website. And I said, I will have a website.
I'll get a website.
In 2 weeks, well, organizing the first FAM, and it's unfunded.
Mhm.
And in the first year, it was just me and an idea and a lot of heavy lifting. I am incredibly proud to say this February, year 4 of Preventative Health Awareness Month, recognized by Health Canada, has grown with now over 83 and climbing. I've got another call today. FAMbassadors from all disciplines of healthcare, FAM partners, organizations, businesses that believe in this mission, that want to move it forward. I'm sitting at government tables lobbying for investment in prevention. I'm talking to insurance companies about thinking differently. I've got a blog that's free that people can take part in, and these professionals are giving free education. I've got a podcast and TV show in collaboration with TV Kojiko that I'm so proud of, bringing soulful and conversations to the table with all different healthcare professionals, breaking down silos, building the airplane while we fly it, because that's how you create legacy change. And when I look back in the last 3 years, I am blown away. This year, we've got municipalities raising FAM flags. We've got proclamations happening in mayors' council chambers to say February is going to be Preventative Health Month. We're launching this FAM this year, the largest tech hub in Canada, in Ottawa, in our nation's capital.
Can you share about that? Because I know the tech hub, you were explaining how that works. Because there's literally so many facets. I swear I could have like a 4-hour podcast with you. Can you explain that hub piece?
Yeah. So first of all, the launch is going to be at the 350 Hub in Ottawa, which is a tech park where it's very cool. We're doing a Stronger Through Midlife event to launch Preventative Health Awareness Month for this year. But then this month as well, I'm launching the CEO of Your Health Hub, which I'm so proud of. This is an online hub and community that for the last 3 years, since I sold my clinic, I've had my head down and I put together an incredible signature course called Become the CEO of Your Health course that is so robust and that's transformational. This is not just a fun course to take. This is based in science, but also linked to your goals and your needs, because there's a self-assessment tool at the beginning, looking at all the pillars of wellness. Once you go through that assessment, you then enter the course, and there's over 50 lessons, video lessons. There's a workbook full of worksheets and resources, over 75 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Christy Prowse is my chief medical advisor with this course. But within that course, it's housed in the hub, the CEO of Your Health Hub. That hub is a community of like-minded people. We have a CEO of Your Health toolbox in there with short little tips and tricks from all different ambassadors whether nutrition, whether I'd love for you to be part of that. I'm talking about neurolinguistic programming and our subconscious mind and our belief system. And we have a live webinar series of guests coming on so you can get access. Canadians are struggling to get access to healthcare. Well, in this hub, you're going to get access not just to the top-notch healthcare professionals, these ambassadors from, whether it be a cardiologist, a gynecologist, but where you intimately can ask them questions and get into the driver's seat of your health because you've taken this course. My podcast is in there. It's a community where we learn and grow together. Mm-hmm. And the research is in there and resources so that when you go to the doctor and you're overwhelmed and you have 5 minutes to tell them what you need, you're prepared because you're the CEO of your health. I have worked 3 years to launch this hub. And the FAM movement is my free offering. It's a massive beast. I mean, I'm raising money thanks to our sponsors so we can execute this because it's not easy to educate and to execute 85 healthcare professionals for an entire month of free education, a blog, a TV show. It's overwhelming. But I asked for this. And that's why I cried at the beginning of our call. Because as overwhelming as it can be, I took the leap, not knowing, but knowing that if I lived where the butterflies are and jumped, I knew the parachute would come out. I didn't know at what feet.
Yeah, where? As soon as I jumped or like close to the ground? Where was it going to come out?
And there have been times where I'm like, I'm crashing. However, when I've leaned into my own tools, which I share with others, now I'm looking in year 4 with this CEO of Your Health Hub launching, with the FAM movement exploding, this grassroots movement. I mean, we're making changes. And I'm so proud. I've earned a seat on the curriculum advisory board of the Toronto Metropolitan School of Medicine that just opened this September. And why is this medical school so different? Because I've said for years, it's not our physicians' fault. This is their training. They are not trained in nutrition, in mindset, and they are trained, and I mean this with ultimate respect because they didn't go into medicine wanting to become glorified pharmaceutical reps. That wasn't what they sought out. But that's what we've bought into for 40 years. And I'm not against pharmacology. There's a time and a place for it. Yeah. But healthcare is far more than that. It is not about just band-aiding problems. It's about getting to the source cause and empowering a person to get into the driver's seat of their health. That's what doctors want. Well, this new medical school is innovative and had the vision to say, we're going to graduate future doctors trained in preventative and integrative medicine and all of the others. They're going to still have the mad skills that they have in conventional medicine, but they needed people in the complementary space to also help teach them. Because I've learned a lot from my colleagues in conventional medicine. But here's what I know too boldly. They've learned from me. And so to earn a seat at this table, I'm one of only 3 allied health professionals on the curriculum advisory board for this new medical school. The future of healthcare is brighter because organizations like TMU are saying, well, hang on, our healthcare system has collapsed. Everyday Canadians, and I think the pandemic was a bit of a gift in that regards, and not because people died. I'm not making light of how traumatic that was, and we're still feeling the fallout of that. But what it did was wake people up to say, I want to help myself, but I don't know how. And I'm existing in a system where I'm not supported. Well, FAM and the CEO of Your Health Hub is your support system. And that's why having ambassadors and connections with people like you, that's why I reached out to you. You didn't even know who I was because I will seek out a bigger team so that the legacy of healthcare, when we look back, Marsha, for my kids and future grandkids, and yours too, if we're blessed to have them, where we say, wow, we played a role in changing the legacy of healthcare for future generations. That's why I sold Wallace for Wellness in the state it was 3 years ago, almost 4 years. And I am beyond excited about what's in front of me now. And I'm rolling up my sleeves and open to all and any possibilities to change it. And I'm doing it boldly. I'm speaking on stages. I'm asking boldly for insurance companies to think differently. I've been instrumental in bringing new technologies to Canada, like the REMS bone scan with my partnership with Osteosound and Megan Burmester, a new bone scan technology that's in my wheelhouse of musculoskeletal health. It's changing the game, and it is the future.
Mhm.
Takes being bold, being scared, doing it anyway, and owning our choices
Yeah.
instead of just complaining and waiting for someone to come and fix it for us. That's not how you be the CEO of your health. And that's where there's hope in my story, and how I hope will allow others to see themselves in me. And that's
Mhm.
I'm here to help them do that.
You are thank you for sharing all of that. You are quite the visionary, right? Like, you are quite the visionary. You have a very, very big vision that even when it wasn't clear, it was like, I know it's pulling me and I know I'm meant to do more with it. And I also know that through you, it's not just tackling health topics, you're also tackling topics that people don't always want to talk about. Like, there's a piece about addiction that also connected our stories. I know that's another whole podcast, but I want to share that in a piece that there were many overlapping spots. And I love that you are talking about some of these difficult topics.
Thanks for raising that. And you're absolutely right. I talked about it wasn't until last year that I wrote a blog. It really, last year for many of us, and I'm going to say for me, was one of the most challenging
Yes.
years of my life.
Mhm.
I won't go into all the details, but if we lost a loved one in December of last year. My husband, which very private guy, but I will say had a health crisis, shocking and rocked us to our core. And I remember sitting in my great room and writing a blog and sharing my story about endometriosis like I'd never done before. I always talked about this chronic disease I had, but I never claimed and named my disease. And through my own disease and through the FAM movement now, there are micro movements happening, like the Real Lives Touched by Addiction micro movement, which addiction touches all of us, addiction in many ways, and it impacts families and our communities and our systems in such a profound way. But there's a lot of shame in this space. And the
Yes.
shame keeps us stuck. It's the lowest vibrating emotion there is, and it keeps people stuck and generational trauma happening. And it takes bold vision and courage to speak up and to own your story and to lean in to help others. And so I was only ever given the support of here's your drug to help me in my pain. I worked on the Donwood Institute on the detox floor in my early days as training in massage therapy. And I saw people, high functioning people, doctors, surgeons, pilots on the detox floor because it's not about the addiction, it's about the pain.
Mhm.
Yet the world isn't willing to embrace the root cause of things. And then there's shame in it. So we cover it up and we walk around it and we're tripping over all of this. And it doesn't serve anyone. Well, I was similar in a different way because all I was ever given the solution was here's your drug to manage your pain,
Mhm.
whether it be your head or otherwise. And I'm not proud of what it did to me and my family in the days where I didn't have my tools. Tools like this, which we'll talk about another time, tools that I've learned as a clinician to help myself and now help others. And so I was committed and determined through my work at Wallace for Wellness, now through my work with FAM and the CEO of your Health Hub, to ensure that I give a voice and a platform, one with integrity, one with honesty, one with credibility, for people to talk about topics like addiction and the impact it has on everyone
Mhm.
without shame, but with purpose and a vision of how do we think differently so we can change this together. Because and it's so cliche, if we've always done what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got, but it's safe. And in those topics, I am seeing these micro movements happening under the powered by the FAM umbrella
Mhm.
that leaders are taking. And I am humbled and beyond grateful to breathe belief into these missions. Jennifer McCutcheon is leading the Real Lives Touched by Addiction micro movement under FAM. When we started the first year, we did it it was called oh my gosh, it was a little men's barber shop, Vintage Throne in Barrie. It was me, a couple of gentlemen that have struggled with addiction, and a couple of practitioners, ambassadors. We did a couple of the lives from there. It was very small. It has grown every year since. And this February, for Real Lives Touched by Addiction Day on February 5th, We're in collaboration with Loyalist College and have an event
Mhm.
where tickets are selling like crazy right now, where we are going to have real stories about how addiction has touched people's lives, from the person suffering with addiction and substance abuse or disorder to the family members to the that are dealing with people in active addiction to the mother that's lost her son from addiction but is using her story for purpose. I don't take this lightly that I've created a platform and movement, but I'm also not here to say this is all about me. I am breathing belief and providing support and resources so people like Jennifer, like you, like people that want to have a voice can take these micro movements, whatever they are, and run with them under the FAM umbrella. And together, we're going to change the legacy of healthcare in a wide range of topics for years to come.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I just know that it's been so fascinating to connect with you, and I think it's only been about, I don't know, a month? I don't even know, like, maybe a month or 6 weeks that we've
Correct.
talked a few times, and I just know that the work that you're doing, our paths are gonna continue to cross and intersect, and I love how you do, like, you don't speak about collaboration, you actually live it and breathe it, and it shows, and that's, like, that's what's required to make the changes that we need, and we can't do it by ourselves, it's not possible. And collectively, we can bring more stories forward. More people hear your story and they're like, okay, wow. Like one, look at what one person can do. Like you do it because you initiate it and then other people join in, but somebody has to start it. That's what
Yes.
a visionary, like somebody has to start it. And it's just, to me, it's been fascinating because I know I have met Jennifer through you and I will be interviewing her as well. And it's just this piece that I can tell you, I mean, I've been on this journey talking about vulnerable stories, dealing as a parent with addictive behaviors and, the shame from family and criticism like it. I have found myself even in this last month speaking about how this impacts families. Like we just don't I realize there is the addiction and then it impacts families. And I want to start to even bring more voice to that, so I love how you're doing what you're doing and how these paths are continuing to intersect. And it really is about trying to help more people improve health, options that are available, bringing people to work together. And I'm grateful that our paths have connected. So the ways to connect to you are what? Can you share with everyone?
Of course. So you're going to see in this year my offerings morphing and more clarity coming. And I'm being honest here, progress over perfection, right? Because
Oh, 100%.
like you said, I jumped with the belief,
Yeah.
and then listen. It's partnered with hard work and vision and getting in the trenches. I mean, this CEO of Your Health has taken 3 years, but you're going to see there's going to be a couple of new websites. But right now, you can go to wallisforwellness.com, and Wallace is spelt differently. It's WALLIS for wellness.com, and there you'll see there's a landing page for the FAM movement, which will be live during FAM month in February. You can go to ceoofyourhealth.ca, get on the waiting list right now for the launch of the CEO of Your Health Hub that's coming in the next month or so, which is so, so exciting. I would love for you to join my YouTube channel, which is, where you're going to be able to see my podcast, connect with all the live things that are happening on my website as well. The blog is there. One of the other things that we didn't talk about, but I'm really building, and it's going to have its own website. Once again, you have a problem, you fix it. If you're looking for your healthcare team and you're struggling to find it, I believe you're the most important member of your healthcare team. There is not an integrative health directory, or there wasn't.
Mhm.
And I recognized that 3 years ago. So someone smarter than me took my vision to create the first ever preventative and integrative health directory, whereby everyday people can go search by type of practitioner. You're looking for a massage therapist, you're looking for a gynecologist, you're looking for a mental health professional, or a business that can help with a certain thing. But the other searchable content, which I think is a game changer, is this: you can search by condition or struggle. Why? Because I know this to be 1000% true. There is not a single problem, condition, or issue that one person can help you with. We need an integrative team. We need all kinds of people on our team, us being the most important member of our healthcare team. So if you have diabetes, you may need a dietitian, you may need an endocrinologist, you may need somebody with exercise. We should not be just treating in silos or thinking in silos. So this directory is the first of its kind, which you can search by type of practitioner or type of condition so that you can begin to find your team, to customize it for yourself. And my goal, Marsha, and it's happening, is that this will become a go-to resource for family health teams because I have so many friends that are doctors and surgeons, and they want to make good referrals. They just don't know where and how. I am vetting this. So I've got ambassadors, and it's growing, where we are going to have thousands of practitioners across the country, where there'll be regional areas so that you can find people in your community or online, because now we can do a lot through this beautiful medium. Yep. But where you get to be the CEO of your health, and a doctor can confidently refer to this directory so that you can also look to help yourself. Because if you're waiting for a doctor to fix you, you're not truly looking at healthcare. And so my goal this year is to grow this directory. It's been there for 3 years. I quietly have not promoted it, but the infrastructure is there. And now there's FAM partners coming in. We're looking at insurance companies seeing this as a value. So in the future, there's going to be other places. But right now, wallisforwellness.com, my YouTube channel, Become the CEO of Your Health, Preventative Health Awareness Movement. You'll find me there. And I'm on all the socials, and I love to hear from people.
Well, you do. You are a connector. I could say I'm a connector. You are definitely a connector. I love it. I will be in your studio recording a podcast live very soon. So, I mean, this is like, we didn't just connect with small talk. We connected, went deep and went, okay, where can we help and support each other? And what does this look like? And that's what I mean, I just want people to hear that piece of it. Like there are people everywhere. You can connect with them when you just keep letting yourself be seen and take the time to build some connection and rapport. And we've done that. I think, like I said, I think we've probably had maybe 3 or 4 Zoom calls. I'm not sure. But
Yeah, several text messages. And yeah, I'm really glad you're saying that because I think there's one piece that we both resonate with, and it's really important to say here. You have to earn people's trust and respect. It doesn't just happen from going into a DM.
oh,
And I really feel I need to say that because I don't care who you are, what your credentials are, what you've done. It matters that you choose to show up and connect in an authentic, respectful way, but also be willing to wait and earn the respect because we both will fiercely protect our brands, our stories, what we. But it was really quickly in our first Zoom call that I immediately felt a sense of trust with you. That not only would you have my back, I would have yours, but we were aligned. And I think I will grow slower, but grow with a strong foundation because I'm connecting with the right people. But people out there, please know this, you have to do the work. And it starts with you first. If you just expect and feel entitled, that foundation will come crumbling down. So I am so blessed and grateful that my end of my 2025 happened with a connection with you. And I know in my soul, however that path goes moving forward, there's going to be some really powerful things together that we're going to do that will allow others to expand and grow too. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you for taking my DM.
oh my gosh, my pleasure. I love sharing that part of the conversation because it's just like people who know me know that I love to connect with people. But if somebody reaches out in my DMs, like I had somebody yesterday, and I mean, the first couple sentences, and I'm like, okay, you're going to pitch me. I know you are. Just like get to the point. You're not even, this is not connecting. It's not connecting. I also think that some people have forgotten how to connect.
Oh my gosh. You know what? You're on to something. That's a whole podcast. And I mean, gosh, we're going to be doing more, but you're so right. I think that is one of the massive fallouts of COVID. And I mean this wholeheartedly. Human connection, our backgrounds are both in kinesiology as well. The human body and connection at its core is who we are as humans. And without that, we can't thrive, but we've forgotten. And I think that's where this gets a bad name because people have forgotten what it truly means to be connected. And you can do that through a screen, but it's done differently.
Mhm.
And it's done with intention and I think you do that so well and you teach people how to do that, which is what I love about the work you're doing. I think that's really powerful because that's what we need to do more of together is show people that, yeah, you don't need to pitch me. How are we working better together?
Yep, which is exactly what like, that's exactly what all of our conversations have been. So, I often say, people are so caught up in the people in my life don't support me, and I say it openly, like, that what if your story is for the person you haven't met yet? There's literally everyone in my life now who I connect with and collaborate my entire business is built on collaborations, were people that I didn't really know deeply 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like things can change quickly, but I love that, and I love our conversation and connection, and I know we have many more to come. I have one more question for you, Marg. It is what lesson in life are you most grateful for?
So there are many, but I think at the core, and last year it was really, I think, when I pulled off the shame blanket, I am most grateful because this doesn't happen to a lot of people, and people might think this sounds very strange, but my disease and an early diagnosis of it has been my biggest gift. It taught me really early on to not it's taught me many things, but first to not take for granted my health, mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. It's taught me that it doesn't have to define me. So even in hard moments in life,
Mhm.
loss, grief, you can be resilient and have things happening, but good happen alongside of it. And I'm not so sure that without having those really hard times in a really early time in my life and formative years, that I would be who I am today because of it. And it has literally been the foundation that's launched my careers. I've made so many mistakes. I say mistakes. If I could look back and change some things, of course we all would, but it's created who I am now. But at the foundation of it,
Mhm.
my life's work and who I am, I often say this I don't wear different hats, Marsha. I don't take that for granted. Who I am as a person, as a professional, is the same thing. And there's studies done on dissonance where you have to wear one hat for work and then one hat at home. It can be hard because those lines have been obliterated in my life because my life is often an open book. Don't get me wrong, I don't share everything and there's certain things I keep close but who I am and what I do is the same thing.
Mhm.
And it's because of that disease. But also, I'm gonna take some of your advice, celebrating and being proud of myself for leaning into that and using that as a foundation and a springboard for my whole career. That's
Mhm.
what I hope people will do. Don't just look at your challenges as something that defines you and give up. For me, that early diagnosis of a disease was the biggest gift of my life. And I get to choose. And I'm still to this day figuring out how to unwrap that gift and use it in different ways.
Well, you are, and you are already doing it, and you're going to continue to do it. And I think that's beautiful because I can tell you out of, 900 and we're hitting 1,000 episodes in April.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Out of everyone I've interviewed, almost always when I ask them what their lesson in life they're most grateful for, it's their challenges. It's the things that they chose not to let them define them, but it became the fuel for what they do. And I that is one of the biggest permission pieces that I always want listeners to take away is the sense that you can have a really difficult story and you can do incredibly good work in the world.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. So thank you so much for being here.
You know what? Thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. In the short time I've known you, I'm already learning, and I know I will continue to learn from you, with you, and grow alongside you. So thank you. And congratulations on it's incredible to see what you're doing. And I know you've got, I don't know all the big ass goals that you have right now, but I know they're big. Whenever something gets us, I always talk about living where the butterflies are. Whenever that starts to well up and it's like, oh, that's when you know you're onto something. And I
Mhm.
see that when I watch you speaking And I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat, like front row seat, waiting to see what's coming next because I know that feeling and I know the power in it. So I'm here ready, your biggest cheerleader and ready to watch to see what 2026 unfolds for you. And however I can help, I'm here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So grateful for you.
You too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Own Your Choices, Own Your Life. If you love this episode, I invite you to tag me on social media with your takeaways or share it with a friend. Please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. Until next time, remember, when you own your choices, you truly own your life.